The real story behind today's unemployment numbers. President Bush denies any 1980s deal with the Ayatollah. And police brutality. 4 Mississippi cops are kicked off the force. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. The nation's official unemployment rate is down for the first time in almost a year. The Bush administration today released figures it says indicate the jobless rate fell 0.2 of a point last month, down to 6.6%. But there are many questions about the figures, as we hear from business correspondent Ray Brady.
The figures may be telling us that the number of unemployed on lines like these is shrinking, but experts say today's figures may be misleading and the economy still in trouble.
This is not especially good news. We're still sinking. We're just not sinking as fast. I don't celebrate from something like that.
Experts say 2 trends help push the unemployment rate down. With the recession still strong and jobs tough to get, many of the jobless have simply stopped looking. Others try to go into business for themselves. That means they're simply dropped off the unemployment rolls, making the jobless rate look lower.
They're out of the labor force. It makes the unemployment rate go down, but in fact, that's a bit of a statistical artifact.
There are people like Taylor Smith, once in fashion, now jobless for the first time. She may consider starting her own business because she no longer trusts employers.
It doesn't matter who you are. They'll hit you and axe you when the time is right.
That employer axe is still swinging. Today's report shows 125,000 jobs lost last month alone. Nearly 1.5 million lost since the middle of last year.
We've had about triple the number of people filing new claims in the last year.
The ranks of America's more than 8 million unemployed now cross all lines. High paid, low paid, blue collar, white collar. Many of them never before out of work.
It's pretty frightening.
Why do you say that?
Why? Because I've been looking in every newspaper that you could imagine, the New York Times, calling up anyone that I could think of that I've known the past 20 years to find out if there could be help. And it's very, very tight.
Despite today's improvement, experts warn the labor market is likely to stay tight and unemployment high. Even when a recession ends, employers are slow to take on new workers until they're absolutely sure the bad times are over. Dan?
Thanks, Ray. President Bush tried today to dismiss the story that he took part in a secret deal with Iran's Ayatollah Khomeini while running for vice president in 1980. But he left many questions unanswered. Randall Pinkston has our report.
In his first public comments on the subject, President Bush today angrily denied he traveled to Paris in 1980 to help the Reagan campaign cut a deal with Iran to delay the release of American hostages until after the presidential election.
Was I ever in Paris in 1980? Definitively, definitely, no.
Did you ever meet with any Iranians?
That's all I'm going to tell you.
While Mr. Bush was attempting to defuse the controversy, the State Department confirmed it had granted a visa to former Iranian President Bani Sadr to enter the United States. Bani Sadr requested the visa to promote his book, which charges that a secret deal was struck with Reagan representatives to delay the hostages' release in return for future arms sales to Iran. Bani Sadr is likely to meet with congressional Democrats considering an investigation of the charges.
Was there a deal? I don't know whether there was a deal or not at this point, but that's the big question that hangs out there. And I don't think you will resolve it unless you have access to documentary evidence.
Raising the rhetorical heat, the president called press accounts of the controversy sickening. His press secretary described the allegations as trash and predicted Congress will look foolish if it launches an investigation.
And let's try to stop this rumor mongering that's going on. Stop repeating rumors over and over again.
The administration is challenging the president's accusers to produce dates and places, seemingly confident that no one will be able to tie George Bush to any deals that may have placed the lives of American hostages at risk for political gain. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, the White House.
More tonight on what the White House calls its review of policy about travel at taxpayer expense. The magazine U.S. News and World Report says President Bush's White House Chief of Staff John Sununu strenuously objected to the idea that he be denied use of government planes for political trips. So instead, the White House counsel is recommending that Republicans pay the full price of these particular trips by Sununu instead of reimbursing at much lower rates. Floodwaters began receding in Bangladesh today, revealing scenes of mass death and destruction from the cyclone that struck 3 days ago. 100,000 people are now confirmed dead. Officials say disease and starvation could bring the final toll to 300,000. The first foreign aid was flown in today, but only a fraction of what's needed. Relief and rescue operations are crippled by a shortage of helicopters. Bangladesh has only 8 choppers to deliver supplies to the millions left homeless. The U.S. State Department says it is looking for ways to help, but its resources have been stretched by the Kurdish refugee crisis and other humanitarian demands. The war in the Gulf and the storm in Bangladesh may have sounded a death knell for millions of hungry people in Africa. Tom Fenton has their story.
A far greater tragedy is unfolding in Africa, silently and unseen. The worst famine in this century is stalking the continent. 27 million people are facing death by starvation. In Sudan, the former breadbasket of Africa, these people have nothing left to eat but poisonous berries, which give nothing but stomach cramps. 9 million people face starvation in Sudan alone. It's already too late for many. Experts say at least 300,000 Africans will die of famine in the next few months, even if a huge emergency effort is mounted immediately. But there is no sign of that.
We're seeing a major relief effort in Kurdistan, with politicians falling over themselves to help. We're not seeing any effort to help people in Africa this year.
The famine of 1991 was preventable. Last year, a massive crop failure was forecast by the United Nations, but Western governments weren't interested. That, too, was predictable.
Africa is not a very popular continent, and it's not very important.
Drought and poverty are root causes of this calamity. But governments are also at fault. Corrupt African dictators are waging endless civil wars that cost more lives than the cruelty of Saddam Hussein. Western governments, in turn, are reluctant to help unsavory regimes like the Islamic fundamentalist rulers of Sudan, who refuse to admit that a famine even exists.
Donors, whether they're American, French, British, Japanese, whatever, like to at least be asked. You can ask in a number of ways. Nobody has to humble themselves to ask for help.
People who are dying of starvation under African dictators have no voice. They might be forgiven for hoping that countries which spent billions rescuing the well-fed inhabitants of Kuwait could come to their aid as well. But they have no oil. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News. Bootleg computer software that makes a game out of a horror. And Carnegie Hall swings into the next century.
For once, Maytag is offering you something that won't last. A 10-year money-back guarantee. For a limited time, when you buy any Maytag washer, we'll guarantee the transmission will work for the next 10 years or your money back.
That's 70 dog years, Newton. Oh.
So see your Maytag dealer for details, and rest assured that even though this offer won't last, your Maytag will. Maytag, the dependability people.
Fat-free cereal. Truly, I can't imagine just how yummy that will be. Come on, can't we just have a little fun at breakfast? You know, have something with a little flavor to it? Yeah, something like this. Delicious. I like these.
Kellogg's cornflakes have always been fat-free.
Fat-free? Kellogg's cornflakes? Well, don't tell everyone. You'll just ruin it for them.
A good reason to taste them again for the first time.
A company can learn a lot in 125 years. As you learn, you make your product better and better. 125 years of quality. That's why people who know use Valvoline.
Some things are so reliable, they seem invisible. For 9 years, Canon has been America's #1 copier. And if you haven't noticed, that's exactly how it should be. For copiers of uncompromising quality, the choice is Canon.
The medium is video. The message, Holocaust and hate. A Nazi hunting group has put out a warning about a new alleged game that could be available soon in the United States. David Dow has the story.
Adolf Hitler and the themes of Nazi Germany are back in an unlikely setting. These are computer games the Simon Wiesenthal Center, a Nazi watchdog group, claims it obtained on the European underground market. Games with names like Concentration Camp Manager, which rewards the efficient gassing of prisoners.
If you're doing well, they tell you you're a wonderful National Socialist, and you're participating in eliminating these parasites on behalf of the fatherland.
The victims here are Turks, apparently reflecting distaste for Turkish guest workers in Germany. Another game applies a crude test, Aryan or Jew. The same test applied fatally to millions of Jews in World War II. The Wiesenthal Center says the games are being secretly circulated among students in Germany, Austria, and the Netherlands, and may even have entered this country.
It simply warps their minds. It pollutes them. I mean, it's teaching unadulterated hatred.
The source of the games is debated. Austrian officials say the jargon on them is not Austrian. Officials of both Austria and Germany vow to crack down on the distributors, if they can find them.
Such extremist behavior is simply not acceptable. It could be compared to, or should be compared to, drugs.
If it is linked to us, we should know and be made aware about it, and people will be prosecuted.
Officials at the Wiesenthal Center hope to stop the neo-Nazi game makers before their wares are established in the United States, fearing that once here, the games would be protected by the First Amendment. David Dow, CBS News, Los Angeles.
A stunning end today to an extraordinary trial in Miami. A judge dismissed vehicular homicide charges against Ramiro Rodriguez, the defendant in a landmark test case. He was charged in the death of his own 3-year-old daughter in an automobile accident. Rodriguez had failed to put the child in a child safety seat as required by Florida law. The judge ruled there was insufficient evidence. In the wake of the Los Angeles police beating case, we recently reported to you the story of a Southern police chief determined not to tolerate such behavior by his officers. Just how determined is clear in this follow-up report from correspondent Richard Schlesinger.
John, what we do is check with these down here.
When we first met Police Chief David Walker in March, he was making history and making waves. The first black police chief in Jackson, Mississippi was new on the job and laying down the law to his own officers. No unnecessary force.
If, in fact, a person is found to be brutal in the Jackson Police Department while I'm here, one of us will have to leave. And I don't plan to go anywhere.
They've been coming by the boy and nothing over there.
And when we first met Mike Montaigne in March, he was a police officer, uneasy with the new order.
What's that telling us is if a person is handcuffed and he refuses to go, we can't touch him. What are we supposed to do?
But Mike Montaigne is not a police officer anymore. Last week, he and 3 other officers were arrested for beating a black man.
What do you think's going to happen? I don't know.
And this week, he and the 3 others were fired, kicked off the force by David Walker.
It is clear from our investigation that there was criminal conduct.
If David Walker was having trouble getting this city's attention before, he certainly has it now. No one in Jackson can remember the last time police officers were arrested and fired for beating somebody up.
He hit me with a flashlight.
He hit you where?
Right across my mouth with a flashlight. So blood started shooting from my mouth.
This is the man who accused the 4 cops of beating him. His name is Ernest Thomas. He's been arrested at least 13 times on a variety of charges that include drugs and assaulting a police officer.
When you reported it, what did you think was going to happen?
What did I think was going to happen? Nothing. I just reported. I really didn't think nothing was going to happen.
Are you surprised at what's happened?
Yes, sir.
I think it's important that we send a clear message, if you will, if we talk about sending messages to even the Mr. Thomases of the world, that they are entitled to protection under the Constitution of the United States.
You know better now. Some Jackson police officers complain that they're confused. Walker is changing the rules and saying things they're not used to hearing.
Everybody else go back. You simply don't have to get out and to appear very, very aggressive to do your job. What'd you say you saw me?
Victor Mason is one of Walker's new breed, college-educated, community-involved. He spends more time in schoolhouses than crack houses.
I'll see y'all later.
When was the last time you arrested somebody?
Oh, I arrested somebody early part of this year.
Police officers are supposed to arrest people, I always thought.
That's true. That's true.
So
but
how is
police
it...
officers are to save people, too.
Walker's critics, including some of his own officers, say he's fighting too hard to save people, not hard enough to arrest people.
It may sound that way, but it's simply not the case.
Can you prove it?
Certainly we can. We look at our jail. Our jail is not suffering from a lack of occupancy.
And the chief warns he'll keep filling his jail with all the criminals he can find on the street and on the force. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, Jackson, Mississippi.
We'll check back with Chief Walker and his fight against police brutality and let you know how he's doing from time to time. Stay with us now for more news, including Eye on America. Tonight, the mighty salmon losing a battle with man over water.
Excuse me.
You saved my life the other night.
The dinner party.
The coffee. Very successful.
How can you ever thank me?
Well, at least I can return your taster's choice.
Look, I'm busy right now, but perhaps...
Perhaps.
Savor the sophisticated taste of Taster's Choice.
How's the coffee?
Where'd you get it?
Oh, I have it delivered.
Your high-fiber cereal.
Tastes like a high-fiber cereal.
But my high-fiber cereal is different.
Why? Because it comes in a big red box?
No, because it's delicious.
Really?
It's the only one with this delicious combination of raisins, dates, nuts, and crunchy clusters.
Keeps sounding better and better.
And crispy high-fiber bran flakes.
That makes it perfect.
That makes it fruit and fiber.
And that makes fruit and fiber my high-fiber cereal.
Post Fruit and Fiber Cereal.
Delicious.
Why would you want your fiber any other way?
I'll get the dressing.
Let's make it fresh.
Good seasons.
Dressing's great.
Good seasons, you make it fresh, you make it best.
This is the sound of Unisom, the sound of sleep. With Unisom, you hit your pillow and fall asleep fast. Tonight, you can sleep more soundly with Unisom, America's #1 sleep aid.
Did you see who just moved in next door? What are they doing in our neighborhood? Don't jump to any conclusions until you watch 60 Minutes, Sunday.
In Eye on America tonight, we're taking you to the center of what is becoming a familiar conflict. It's the battle to save an endangered species at potentially great cost to the human species. Correspondent Jerry Bowen tells us the saga of the sockeye salmon.
High in Idaho's Sawtooth Mountain stands a lake that no longer lives up to its name. Redfish Lake has no redfish, no wild sockeye salmon churning through its Clearwater creeks in a scarlet fury to spawn. The last one was seen more than a year ago. A vanishing act especially troubling to the Shoshone Indians, who won tentative protection for the fish under the Endangered Species Act.
It's a part of our history, and it's been a part of our lives. When something disappears from a part of you, and a part of you or a piece of you is missing also.
And millions of other people may feel the loss too if the protection is made permanent 1 year from now. Anyone who depends on power from the series of hydroelectric dams on the Snake and Columbia rivers. Consumers nationwide who buy produce from the region that is grown with irrigated water. Anyone with a tie to the rivers is worried. Amazingly, there may not be enough water to sustain both man and a species of salmon rarely seen anymore.
How big a concern is that to you?
Well, it's quite a concern. Not only for my job, but for a lot of other people's jobs.
The big Grand Coulee Dam in the state of Washington is just about the biggest thing that man has ever done.
The harnessing of the rivers of the Northwest was celebrated in song by Woody Guthrie 50 years ago. But the dams that provided electricity, irrigation, and flood control also created barriers to the spirited and mysterious salmon migration. Concrete ladders were built to help them swim by to their spawning areas. Bypass channels diverted ocean-bound juvenile fish away from the lethal turbines to barges for a safe journey to the sea. Still, fewer and fewer salmon have been returning, down from 16 million to 3 million a year, and most of them hatchery fish.
If the salmon in the Pacific Northwest and California die, that means our entire system of rivers is dying or dead. These are concerns that will ultimately affect us. If our water quality is so bad that these species cannot survive, how long will we be able to survive as a species?
If they list the salmon as endangered, what's going to change here?
This wouldn't exist. We wouldn't plant potatoes. I mean, there's no way we could.
Porky Thompson worries the dust devils would take over the 6,000-acre farm that now grows potatoes for America's fast food restaurants. Thompson's irrigation rights could be restricted or lost under proposals that would lower river levels to improve the flow for the salmon. River levels also low enough to reduce hydroelectric power.
Electrical generation. The West Coast better get used to brownouts. They better get used to a residential rate hike. Unbelievable, unsurpassed.
And it's not just the wild sockeye. 4 other species have also been proposed for protection. 200 more strains of wild salmon also face extinction.
People a long time ago felt that the salmon would always be here. It's always coming back. Then it disappeared for a while. Maybe the creator has decided to put a few fish back in here and see what we're going to do with it. Are we going to protect it? Are we going to let it die and no more again? Or maybe that's something that the creator is a test for not only the Indians, but for the non-Indians also.
A test there's no way to avoid. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Snake River, Washington.
I have rich taste. I love the rich flavor of Sunsweet pitted prunes. Plump, tender, irresistibly sweet. I can almost taste them. Good idea. Only one prune tastes Sunsweet.
A lot of you insist on eating wheat thins and oat thins because they taste good. But the whole idea behind these crackers is that you can eat them without feeling guilty. That's why they're baked, not fried. I mean, eat them because they're delicious, and you miss the whole point.
Piloting a corporate jet for Dow can be interesting and rewarding, particularly when it's an angel flight. The Corporate Angel Network uses empty seats on company business trips to fly cancer patients who need specialized treatment. Patients like Christy. Dow was the first to make over 100 of these flights. Welcome aboard, Angel. This company does great things. This is one of them.
Dow lets you do great things.
We know there are lots of things you do to improve your pet's quality of life. We do them too. The Heart's 2-in-1 Flea and Tick Collar kills fleas. It also kills ticks that carry Lyme disease, and even the ones that don't. The Heart's 2-in-1 Flea and Tick Collar is good for up to 5 months, rain or shine. Helping to improve your pet's quality of life is your responsibility. Helping you do that is Heart's.
Orlando Canizales defends his IBF Bantamweight title, plus the U.S. International Motorcycle Grand Prix this weekend on CBS Sports Saturday.
As American concert halls go, it is not the oldest or even the largest, but it's the one the best musicians have played in for decades. Carnegie Hall is turning 100 Sunday. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Let Harry Smith take you there.
The 100-year-old stage in Carnegie Hall has supported some of the greatest orchestras and musicians in history. Audiences have filled this hall to embrace the artists and their music because for 100 years, Carnegie Hall has endured as a sanctuary of excellence. Tchaikovsky lifted the first baton here. Other giants followed: Toscanini, Rubinstein, Horowitz,
But Carnegie Hall almost didn't survive to be 100. It took a campaign led by violinist Isaac Stern to save it from the Wrecker's Ball 30 years ago.
Why was it so important to you personally to save this hall?
Because I, like everyone who grew up in this country, every musician, for all of us, whether we grew up here or came from Europe or were in Europe, Carnegie was the ultimate place.
Carnegie Hall has also stood as the pinnacle of pop. Swing swung in here with Benny Goodman in 1938. Even Jack Benny played Carnegie Hall. Music has filled the hall for this week's centennial celebration. Jazz with Dizzy Gillespie, who first played here in 1946.
It's awesome when you look out over that audience and inside of Carnegie Hall, you say, is it true? Am I really in heaven?
Boy, some change.
A lot of change. Elevator man Tommy Martin has seen the biggest and best come and go for almost 40 years.
Is that right? Were you working back over here when the Beatles came?
Yeah, they almost, with cops and all, almost caved the doors and everything in. That's right.
It was a rich man, Andrew Carnegie, who built the hall. He wanted to make great music accessible to everyone. It is the success of that ideal we celebrate, and that century of culture. The hall, it seems, remembers it all. Harry Smith, CBS News, New York.
A sanctuary of excellence. Bob Schieffer will have the news for you tomorrow. Connie Chung on Sunday. Don't forget 60 Minutes Sunday. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. I'll see you Monday. Good night.
If you're counting calories, here's something you should know. An entire Kellogg's Special K breakfast, including cereal, fruit, skim milk, and coffee, actually has fewer calories than the leading diet shake. Fewer calories. And when you're dieting, isn't that what's important? Kellogg's Special K. Lose the fat.
Sears' most powerful Craftsman lawnmower is on sale through Saturday. This power-propelled Craftsman 5-horsepower mower lets you bag or mulch. And you save $100. But you gotta get to Sears by Saturday.
We're about to prove a point. On the right, a pie wrapped in saran wrap. On the left, Reynolds and Glad. Knowing a bear won't eat what he can't smell, which one holds an odor and freshness better? Saran wrap. Nothing protects food better.
When I say home by 11, I don't mean an hour later.
But Daddy...
Another Maalox moment. It's a medical fact. There's no faster therapy known for your stomach acid than Maalox. That's why you trust it. It's so strong, if you take it now, it starts working now.
Honey, I just can't help worrying about my little girl.
Daddy, I am 16.
Yeah.
Extra strength Maalox Plus. It's a medical fact. There's no faster therapy known.
This is CBS.